Hey boo, welcome back to my channel. We're doing Vlogmas, so this is what you're getting today. I am drinking some mulled wine. It is 12:09 on a Sunday, but I had some leftover wine from yesterday, so I decided to warm it up and drink it again. So don't lose your shit. Don't lose your stuff. Today I want to talk about the Goodreads Choice Awards. So that just came out. And a lot of the girls, I know last year, they were very upset because of the winners and who was possibly snubbed. But I just want to get into it a little bit and talk about the results of these books. Okay. The winners of the Goodreads Choice Awards, I'm going to talk about books that were nominated that I have on my TBR, or books that won that I have on my TBR, which I don't think any of them were, but we'll get into it. The first category is Reader's Favorite Fiction, and for that the winner is The Wedding People. Now I am familiar with this book, although I don't have it as a book that I didn't add it to my TBR. It's definitely on my radar. My co-worker, which you guys have heard me talk about her from time to time, trying to figure out if we like the same kind of books, or if her book recommendations are not for me, but she did actually rave about this book, so I do want to possibly get into it next year. But The Wedding People, and she says it's about, I remember what she said. She said it was about a girl that went to a resort by herself. She's supposed to go with somebody else, but she ended up going by herself, and it was like a secluded resort, and there's a wedding going on there, so everybody else there is a part of this wedding party, and the girl, she's giving off these like sad girl vibes, and the bride ends up crossing paths with her, and she's like, girl, you gotta get it together. We're not doing those sad girl vibes. And so I think that's where the book, that's what the book is about. Okay, yeah, so they said that it's supposed to be funny too. So this might be a pretty good book. Now here are some of the nominees that were included in this Reader's Favorite Fiction category. I'm familiar with this Sally Rooney, Intermezzo, The Blue Sisters. I'm familiar with that book, on my radar, but not on my TBR. I actually added this Leanne Moriarty, Here One Moment, on my Libby app, but I did not mark it as a book on my TBR because I just kind of wanted to check it out. All Fours is on my TBR by Miranda July, and Colored Vision by Danza Sina. I actually started that book. I was almost finished, but Libby, she snatched it back. So we may get into that next year when I'm kind of like in the mood for something like Danza Sina is a Black author. So that's, from my understanding, that's the only one on the Reader's Choice Awards. I'll make some corrections in the editing room if I am mistaken. The next category is Historical Fiction. The Women by Christina Hanna is our winner with 253,147 votes. Not on my TBR. I am familiar with James by Percival Everett. I read another book by him, and I just think his writing is fascinating. Other books on my TBR for this is The Love Elixir by Augusta Stern. Oh no, The Love Elixir of Augusta Stern. How did I put this on my TBR? Not sure how this got added to my TBR, but okay. It says, on the cusp of turning 80, newly retired pharmacist Augusta Stern is adrift. When she relocates to this place, it's a active senior community in southern Florida. She unexpectedly crosses paths with Irvin. He is the delivery boy from her father's old pharmacy and the man that broke her heart 60 years ago. Okay, so this may be dual timeline. Let's see. Yeah, it's historical fiction, so it's giving dual timelines probably. This does seem interesting, but it's got that magical realism. I wonder where that come from. I don't know. I'm not too hyped about magical realism. Oh, this sounds like a good one. So that was on my TBR and it was a nominee for historical fiction for the Goodreads Choice Awards. And that was all the books that, I was interested in. Oh, we do have a winner. So I did choose a winner. I did read a winner. So now we're in our mystery and thriller, and the winner for this category is God of the Woods by Liz Moore, and I did read this book. This book was about a family that owns a campground in upstate New York, and their child goes missing. Not only does their child go missing, but 10 or 15 years prior to, their other child goes missing. And so we have dual timelines, we have family drama, family secrets. This book was okay. It was okay. It kept my attention. I do want to talk about it a little more, kind of, really unpack some things with this book and make sure that I was reading what I think I was reading. But this was a pretty good book. Other books that was in this category that I either read or they're on my radar include First Lie Wins. This was a book club read. I gave this book 3 stars. Yes, I didn't really care for that book. Do you? Another book that's on this category, that was in this category, is Frida McFadden's The Boyfriend, which is only the second book that I've read by this author, and 5 stars. 5 stars. The Boyfriend kept my attention. It gave those thriller vibes, mystery vibes. It gave. Another book that's on my TBR is The Teacher by Frida McFadden. This book is also a nominee for the mystery thriller category, as well as Listen for the Lie by Amy Tindra. That's on my radar. And those were all the books that were on my radar that were nominated for a Goodreads Choice Award. The next category is romance. For romance, Funny Story by Emily Henry. I've been hearing a lot about Emily Henry in her books. I just have not gotten into it, but congrats to her for winning in this category. The books that I did have on my TBR that were nominated is The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and I actually purchased this book and I need to get back to it. It's in my bag. Goes with me everywhere in case I have a moment to read. I did read This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Chef's Kiss. If you have not read this book, go ahead and pick it up. You don't have to read Before I Let Go before you get into this book. And we are looking forward to Hendrix's story coming out in 2025. Definitely an anticipated read. Kennedy, she's doing her big one right now. Another book that I read that's in this category is A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. This is magical realism, and I think I gave it 4. I may have given 5 stars. 5 stars. Yeah, I gave it 5 stars. It gave the feels. It was my first encounter with magical realism, but I enjoyed the book. Favorite romantasy. I haven't read any romantasy, so this is romance plus fantasy books. The winner is House of Flame and Shadow. So if you are wanting to get into any of these categories, or if you want to read some different genres, I would recommend starting with the winners, because this is a choice award. So that means all the readers, we're not talking about publishers and marketing houses and things like that. These are readers that voted for these books. And so this will be a good place to start. Sarah Maas. I have heard of this author. And so congrats to her for winning in this category. Books that, let me see if any books on my TBR made it to be nominated. Did not, because like I said, this is not my genre of choice. Fantasy, another one of not my genres of choice, but the winner is Somewhere Beyond the Sea. It is, oh yes, this is the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea. I have heard some things about this book. Heard it was real good, real good. It's just not my thing right now. Maybe we'll try to delve into this more in 2025, but today it is not my thing. Books that I have on my TBR. Oh, I do have one. The Bright Sword. Let's see what this book is about. This is a long one. I don't know what this book is about. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. I don't even, the synopsis is just like, it's blowing my mind. But I have it on my TBR for some reason. I wish there was a way to, once you add a book to your TBR, especially in these apps of Goodread and Storygraph, things like that, that we could like put a note in, like how did we learn about this book, who put us onto this book, because I have no idea. Next we have science fiction. Again, not my genre of choice, but The Mystery of Time did win, and I say that, and at the same time I see one of the books that I gave 5 stars to, The Family Experiment by John Mars, blew my mind last month. Loved that book. Horror, Stephen King. It says Stephen King has won 11 awards in this Goodreads awards across horror, mystery, thriller, fantasy, and science fiction. Books that I've read in this genre are 0, because it's not my team. Not my team. Debut novel. So this is the novel that the author, the first book by this author, and the winner is How to End a Love Story. Okay, this looks like a diverse author. Books that I have read in this category or plan to read, none at all. Audiobooks. Emily Henry, again with Funny Story, she wins for audiobook. Listen for the Lie is also nominated, so that is a book that's on my TBR, as well as First Lie Wins and James by Percival Everett. Those are all the books that were on my TBR for good audiobooks. Young adult fantasy, the winner is Ruthless Vows. So this is the second win for Rebecca Ross. I'm not familiar with this author, but she's a winner. How about that? I don't read a lot of young adult books, so I'm not surprised that I don't have any books on my TBR in that category. Young adult fiction, Heartstopper, Volume 5. Not heard of this author or this book, but it says that it's getting ready to become a Netflix adaptation. So if you want to try to get ahead, then you can get into this series. This is Volume 5, so there must be 4 other books that come behind this book, come in front of this book rather. Books that I've read in this category is Where Sleeping Girls Lie. It was not, although I did vote for this book, okay, but it's not one of my favorites. I had a lot, I think I gave this book 3 stars because I had a lot of problems with the book and how it unfolded. Thirsty by Jazz Hammond was another book in this category that I have on my TBR. I don't know if I will get to this book. I don't know. It just, when I added it, it seemed like a book that I would get into. I think I had it on my anticipated reads for 2024, but there's just some other books that is just pushing that book back. Shout out to the authors, because I know it's got to be rough out here. You are competing with so much literature. The next category is favorite nonfiction, and the winner is The Anxiety Generation: How the Great Rewiring of Childhood caused an epidemic in mental health. This seems like great work. Phone-based childhood, yeah. And he has some specific suggestions for parents, schools, and tech companies and the government. Hey, I'm adding that to my TBR right now because I want to know. Other books that's in my TBR in this nonfiction genre would be none. The next category is memoir. I don't read a lot of memoirs. I do try to get into a lot of them in January. but I don't read a lot of them like on my own as a, oh, I want to read that book. The winner of favorite memoir is The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. I just gotta say, are y'all watching the Gilmore Girls? The Gilmore Girls, I can see why that show is popular. It's very comforting, very just like, it's right here. Not a lot going on. If it's a little drama, it's squashed and they're moving on to the next fuzzy subject. And I enjoy it just like as background, playing in the background while I'm reading. Other books in this category that's on my TBR would be, I didn't want to read that book. I think that these books are on my TBR because some of the books are on my TBR that like I'm not familiar with, like that fantasy book is because I entered a giveaway. And when you enter the giveaway, they automatically add it to your TBR so you can get updates on what's going on with the book. But I don't want to read this book, A Toddler's Personal Assistant. If I don't get it for free, then I don't need it. All right, let's take that off. Next category is history and biography. And the winner is The Bookshop, A History of the American Bookstore. This sounds interesting. Author Evan Frizz's loving chronicle of the American bookstore digs deep into history to illuminate the soft power of these irreplaceable literary institutions. He makes a persuasive case that bookstores nurture and create local communities, each of which branches out into our culture, discourse, and public policy. Also, cats love bookstores and they're always right about everything. I don't like a cat. And let me tell y'all another thing. I don't like it when y'all have y'all dogs in the bookstore. Put y'all's dogs up, because I don't want to be looking at your dog or interacting with your dog when I'm trying to sample a book or looking through a book. I don't like that. And I don't like them cats all snuggled up against the books, touching them and stuff. I don't like that. Maybe when I become a dog mom, maybe, but at this point in my life, I don't like it. Any books that I have on my TBR in this category? No, there is none. So that's all the categories for the Goodreads. That's all the categories for the Goodreads Choice Awards. Let me know if any of your favorites made it to the Goodreads nominee or Choice Awards. You know, I would like for there to be a little more melon or color in these nominees. But that's what we have to do our part. We have to do our part with uplifting these authors, talking about them. So that's me doing my part, talking about authors, Black authors, people of color, just letting you guys know what's out, what's coming up, what I'm reading, what you should be reading, what you could read, just so we can uplift them because they're not getting the mainstream attention that I feel like they should. Okay, so we went and got some new nails and I want to talk about them. This has to be one of my favorite sets. It is a sweater. My nail tech, she called it the sweater method. I love how she put the sweater method on the French tip part because that's like my go-to. I love a French tip. This shape is new for me, so I'm just trying to get used to it, trying to figure out what shape is my go-to, but I am liking this shape. I also, a couple of nights ago, I went to the Phillips Place holiday event, and so I'll show you guys a little bit of the footage. But it was cool, but it was cold. It was so cold. Again, I asked my family if they wanted to come with me to get some holiday spirits, and they decided they did not. But I went ahead and went anyhow. I was planning on going to 800 Degrees, which is a pizza restaurant. It's very upscale. It looks very upscale. So it's not like your regular pizza shop. It's pretty upscale, but it was crowded. And I just didn't want to deal with that. I was hungry. I was ready to get back home. I was cold. I was ready to wrap up the night. So I did not do that. I think I just got some Chick-fil-A, but we'll have to do that next time. But Phillips Place is a area. It is a shopping mall in South Charlotte near South Park Mall. So if you're familiar, in Charlotte, North Carolina, South Park Mall, that's where Phillips Place is. They have Resurrection Hardware is over there. They have the Palm, which is a very snazzy restaurant. The Southern Pecan is also a nice restaurant over there, as well as PF Chang's. I don't bang with PF Chang's, but if you do, it's over there. They blocked off some of the parking, and they had little shops set up, and so those little shops were like handmade gifts or local business owners that were showcasing their handmade gifts. I thought that was cool. It was dark. Okay, so you had to have your light out there. Oh, my mom is calling. But make sure that you guys support small businesses this holiday season, even a little bit. You know, I know we want to go to Amazon and get our gifts so that we could just get it over with, right? But we have to give back to our small businesses as well and support them, because we need a balance of both. Santa Claus was out there, so I ran up on him. Didn't get to speak to him. He's a busy man. He had his girl out there, Mrs. Claus, and so, you know, they were getting their photo ops on, and that was so cute and nostalgic. And they had Christmas trees, they had Christmas lights. I ran into some carolers. Can you believe it? I was blown away when they started singing. I said, what? They had a hot cocoa station. I did not get to participate in it. I'm actually not a big hot cocoa girl, so I didn't want to participate in that, but I was just there for the vibes and just to, you know, see what they had going on. All right, well, if you've made it this far in this video, don't forget to like this video, don't forget to comment to this video, and don't forget to share this content with another fellow baby reader.